Welcome once more to the Tales Told from Under the Tree at the Top of the World. Well, actually, right now, I'm telling the tales from beside the weed garden, and I'm sitting on the one-seat stump. The only place I have any solitude, but unfortunately, I have a little competition with my neighbors. But we'll do well. This story today is called Darcy the Weaver. And Darcy was a most remarkable elfin maid. This was a time when all the elves were really quite content and set in all their different ways. There were the carpenters, there were the weavers, the rope makers, the cloth cutters, and those that regarded themselves as children. An after-work stop, that was most. And at the end of each day, all the elfin folk would return to their treetop homes, and children would skip upon the leaves from tree to tree, delighting in the new doll that was made or the new adventurous story their parents had made up for them. And such it was. But this wasn't the case for Darcy. Darcy had discovered early on that she was incredibly, madly, passionately in love with the sun. It was the sun that gave light. It gave life to the trees, to the grasses and flowers. It helped her to do her work. It gave all to the world. And Darcy would spend her evenings sitting in the sands by the great mother sea, watching as the sun would set, delighting in its passing and wishing that it could know how it was that she felt, that all the folks of the land felt about this marvelous, marvelous sun. It was one day that she sat at her loom, and she had decided that she discovered the perfect gift for the sun. She would make a cloak like no other, and she would give it to the sun. But she would need the help of all the folk in the land. She went to the carpenters and said, I need a loom like you have never known. I need to make a cloak for the sun. A wondrous cloak, a marvelous cloak, a gift from the heart from each of us. And the carpenter smiled and said they would do that, and they set about their work, and throughout the day and the night you would hear the hammer and the chiseling, the sliding, the planing, until they had finished the perfect loom. And Darcy went to the spiders and silkworms and asked for the finest of threads like they had never made before. It needed to be like gossamer. It was a gift for the sun, and they all said, yes, of course we will. And they made a marvelous thread so fine, it was almost like there was no thread there. And she went to the flowers and to the trees, and she asked for colors. She wanted all the colors there were in the land, all these wondrous colors, to add to the cloak that was to be a gift for the sun. And the flowers said, of course. And each offered a bit of their colors. In one corner of the meadow, the home of the beautiful blue rose, a rose like no other. The rose thought, and in a moment gave up all its color until there was not a trace of blue left. Instead of a blue rose, it was but a glistening white. And Darcy gathered everything together, and she began to do her work. And you could hear the shh, thump, 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 shh, thump, thump, as the cock flew back and forth across the loom. And she managed to put together this magnificent cloak. And when it was done, as great as it was, she could pick it up and looms as light as a feather. It glowed with a light of its own. And she carried it to the sea and said, "Great Mother, look at what we have done. We have made a gift for the sun." And the sea looked at the cloak and said, "Darcy, dear child, it is magnificent indeed, but it lacks the one color that I find most fair." And Darcy felt that she had failed. She had not done all that she hoped to do. It had not been everything that it could have been. It was not worthy of the sun. And Darcy began to cry. And the sea came up and lapped about her feet, and Darcy's feet fell into the briny foam. And Darcy's tears, not like yours or mine, didn't just spread out and disappear. Her colors had this magnificent golden color. And as they touched the sea, they began to glow and grow. And they raced to meet the sun. And at sun's final passing, the sea and the sky alike were lit with the magnificent golden glow that was only found in Darcy's tears. They traveled on for all of time, even today. We marvel at the beautiful golden sunsets that only come from Darcy's tears. But the sea looked at the cloak and said, "Darcy, dearest, your cloak should not be wasted, and I know one that would greatly appreciate it if you would be willing to give it." And Darcy said, "Of course, it's a gift, and a gift should be given." And so that night there came to the land for the first time the great north wind, and with a whoosh and a wail, a flurry of snow, the great wind landed on the beach and sat beside Darcy. He lifted the cloak and said, "Oh, what a beautiful, wondrous thing this is. If you would give it to me, it would just give such splendor to the land where I come, which is white upon white, and bears are white, and baby seals are white, and on a bad day, it's white." And Darcy said, please take it." And the north wind wrapped it about himself, and he flew off into the northern realms. And men today have still looked at it and call it the Northern Lights. So we all wonder, day by day, at all the gifts from a weaver named Darcy in a land called life. And so I bid you good day, and peace, and rest. And you may have noticed that I move a bit more than I do normally. Well, this is somewhat intentional. This is how I express my dystonia. And this is dystonia awareness. And you've also noticed that I wear a scarf all the time. And that's because my neck gets so twisted around, I tend to hide it, and even now I find it difficult to share that with you. But loves, young, old, all that may see this or hear it, have a grand day, have peace, have love, and love and care about yourself. Good day.